Well, hi there. I'm here today with Jools Pearson, and every time I meet her, she just absolutely um, greases me up, and also just fills my head with lots of really cool stuff about PE. What she hasn't done with PE is not worth knowing. She has done it, been there, bought the t-shirt, and so what I wanted to do was share with you guys today so much stuff around how to really get to grips with PE, not to worry about it. If you're new to the job and you've just been kind of elevated to PE lead, then keep watching this because Jules has got some really cool information to hopefully just relax you a little bit so you can just go about your day and enjoy the job, enjoy the business of being your PE lead and getting the most out of your success there. So, Jules, over to you, my darling.
Okay, well, I always think the P world is a massive, massive world, and it gets people very scared when they enter it. So you might become a PE lead, or you've got to teach PE, and I'll come back to that in a minute. But it is such a massive world that we get lost. And
Yeah.
I think the limited information that's supported by the national curriculum, the DFE, leaves it so open that that's where fear can pop in. In no way ever, and I did this yesterday in a CPD session, teachers, primary teachers with some gymnastics. Please don't make us do forward rolls. There's nowhere it tells you have to do a forward roll. There's nowhere it says you have to do a basketball layup. It doesn't say anything about doing a tango. Okay, there's choice out there, but maybe because there's so much choice, that's one thing. But the other idea is to say that the P world, and especially people like me who was trained in secondary, did 4 full years of training for this, we might have an attitude and an idea that of what PE should look like, and therefore it's filtered down and accepted. And my belief is you are amazing primary teachers. You have got more than many of us have got. I can't go and teach the maths and the English, the literacy and the phonics. So believe in yourself. So I'm going to ground it there. You're amazing, valuable, unique human beings. And I don't want you to allow this impression of what PE should be like forced upon your shoulders. So, specifically, let's just have a little think. You are entering into PE. What does PE look like in a school? Well, that's down to you and your curriculum. As a PE lead, I'd really encourage you to look really intently into your own community. We can buy into schemes, we can do what we wish. Let's twist and turn some of those and make sure that you are actually hitting what does your community need? How can you bring your community in? How can you support one another? Remember, you might have literally just got that title of what a PE is. So you're going to be PE lead and you're going, oh no, don't fear it. Embrace it as best you can.
Absolutely embrace it.
Yeah, and just literally, it's like me being given, I don't know, humanities lead. If I was given something, I'm kind of like, wow, I know a little bit, but I can't do it all. Well, you're not meant to do it all.
Mm.
And I think as a P lead as well, quite a few schools that I've been working with have split it into two parts. One is the competition side, and one is the curriculum side. And that actually, if possible, might be one way to manage that. Um, you are amazing practitioners. So whenever I work with teachers, I say, what have you done? What have you enjoyed? What was your best bit of learning today? And let's just transform that into a P lesson. So ultimately, for me, P lessons start, you're pre-planning, haven't you? So you absolutely know them inside and out, way beyond other people do. So you can see that, X is not kind of looking, as happy as normal, or B a person is kind of thinking, oh, they haven't got the kit again. You know those reasons. So you know how to adapt in any other subject. It's in a classroom. Well, PE is also a classroom. You just got to mark it out with some little markers, get them to stand on them and say, welcome into my classroom. Hence, they're not going to touch the wall or lick the ropes or anything else like that. So
we,
literally, just put your little markers out and then say, come on in. And then you give that 1 meter distance, which stops them kind of going up to all those things. It also gives them a sense of well-being, like, oh, I'm now feeling safe, and you do as too.
Mm.
So pre-planning, what am I looking for from previous learning? What am I going to look for? How do I need to adapt and make sure I support all my learners? Everything you do in every single other lesson. And then get those lessons going. And I do think, I don't know if you've come across the acronym with SOAR, SOAR. Is it safe?
Mhm.
So is it safe for you? Is it safe for the children? Is it safe in well-being as well as
Yeah.
practical sense? Okay, essential to make sure you and the children feel safe in that way. And then O is open. Is it open enough for all our children to access? Again, if I asked us all to do a basketball layup or a handstand today, not everyone would be able to do that because
Yeah.
we don't all have the same experience. So is it open enough? And you might go, instead of we're going to do a one-handed throw and a one-handed catch, it might be, how am I going to send this from A to B and find the best way to do that?
Mm.
So open is accessible. Is it active? Is it active enough that I don't have queues waiting? Because that's where it all kicks off, doesn't it? I know when I have to queue and I'm at Tesco, first of all, I'm always in the back of the queue. And then I
Mm.
turn around, there's nobody behind me, and I've waited longer than everyone else. So it puts us off, puts us on a little bit like, oh, but also distraction comes along.
Yeah.
So is it, you know, active enough to get them a bit huffy puffy, but active enough in here as well? So important to switch this on because it's always there. If we don't engage them in that cognitive, I do
Mm.
sometimes think we kind of just lose a little bit of that. And then the R part, is it relevant? Is it realistic? Is it relatable? So if it's just this random shot in the dark and they're like, what? Then they've got to think it through. And if you haven't explained it, we kind of lose some of our children there. So try and stick to SOAR, which I always think is a really nice,
Yeah.
lovely one.
Yeah. Oh, Jules, that's brilliant. That's really nice. A nice little kind of wrap up of where P leads might want to start. I mean, so one of the things that I wanted to talk to you about today was just if you were faced with that, oh my goodness me, I'm now the P lead. Where do I start? I've got this budget, I've got this PEST funding. I might not have all of it, but I've got some
Yeah.
of it to spend. What should I do and what should I not do in terms of,
Okay.
what's the best way to kind of make every penny count of that PEST funding?
That comes back to relevance, I think. That comes back to me. I mean, often we go into schools and I go into schools and people are saying, I just don't know what to do. And the reason is you haven't got loads of time to do all of this. And two, you haven't got the time to then maybe do an audit. So I always do an audit. I always say, let's just put out an audit and let's do this and this is my open, safe. You know, are we feeling socially, mentally, and professionally safe to be able to speak and to
Okay.
ask these questions? So it's not saying, oh, by the way, I'm absolutely rubbish at gym, but I don't want anyone else to know about this because I'm just going to hide that. The gymnastics, if taught in an open way, you don't have to do any demonstrations if you don't want to. There'll always be a child who can do that. But also, we shouldn't be teaching Olympic gym without doing maybe a British Gym award. So doing an audit means you now know, where do your staff sit, but also where do the parents, the community sit? I mean,
Yeah.
what do we want? Because there's no
Yeah.
use creating something in a school and then the children don't get to take it beyond the gates.
Yeah.
So sometimes feeding out into the community, but also bringing the community in. So an audit around your school community, definitely.
Yeah.
Thinking about planning ahead. So, I know what it's like. Everyone's planned by June what they want, but some people offer things in September, October.
Yeah.
So that money will possibly be stopping. Who knows? So you've got to go for the sustainability. And if you haven't got staff who are supported, and more essentially in my whole world, feeling that they have careful practice around them, which is caring for them as universal individual people, then you're kind of losing out on that one, I think. So equipment for me, I use lots of koosh balls, beanbag balls, things that
Yeah.
won't roll too far. It stops the chaos of balls bouncing everywhere.
Yeah.
So appropriate equipment going beyond just the one big bag of balls and a few cones, which I do see all over.
Yeah.
So variable, open, inclusive, and finding ways at all possible to try and break free from this sport dominance, which I get, but we don't have to go down that route. And having time. We learn from our early years, compassionate, amazing colleagues. Play, exploration, and adaptation is so important. And if we don't ground that early doors, we're actually stopping children having a joy and a desire to want to do more. Because
Right.
they don't find that. They need time to play. They are children and they need to be with children exploring. We don't
Yeah.
need adult dominated activities on them. I
No.
think that might help.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's brilliant, really brilliant advice. Julie, thank you today. Thanks ever so much for your advice today. And I'm going to be kind of coming back to you for a few more bits, if you don't mind. So could you have a little think about how a PE lead might tackle the Active 30 kind of program, and what they might do to start thinking and implementing stuff that are quick wins in their schools. So we'll have another chat another day. Is that all right?
Definitely. Absolutely.